The X-Zone radio and TV show is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone radio and TV show or in any manner endorsed by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, Talkstar Radio Network, its affiliated stations, or employees.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Dream, when I want you in my arms, when I want you, and all your charms. Whenever I want you, all I have to do is dream. Dream, 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 when I feel blue or green in the night and I need you to hold me tight. Whenever I want you, all I have to do is dream.
Welcome back to the X-Zone, everyone. Stephen Yulish is my special guest. Stephen was always interested in UFOs and was a member of NICAP and APRO in the 1960s after reading Project Bluebook. He studied astronomy and exobiology at Case Western Reserve University and graduated in 1969. He eventually became a history professor at the University of Arizona for 7 years, where he visited Alan Hyneck's Tucson group. He became interested in Bible prophecy after he had a head-on collision with Jesus Christ in 1988. He is presently disabled with MS and writes about end-time scenarios. And Stephen, welcome back to the X-Zone. How are you doing tonight?
Thank you, Rob.
Stephen, your quest, your head-on collision with Jesus Christ in 1988. Can you tell us about that?
Did you repeat that? I couldn't hear you, Rob.
Yeah, your head-on collision with Jesus Christ in 1988. What was that?
Well, that was something that the last thing I ever thought about. I had been a university professor, as you said. I worked in the Jewish community as a community professional after that. And all of a sudden I found myself working for a Christian company, and people witnessed to me and told me about Jesus, but I didn't want to listen to any of that. And, you know, as a Jewish person, we had a lot of baggage about Christianity specifically. And anyway, so I eventually, a year later, I had some dreams and I had some visions and a dream, and the Lord, sort of like Paul on the road to Damascus, I had a blinding experience, and God revealed Himself to me and changed my life forever.
Now, where did your interest in UFOs come from?
I'm sorry, what was that again?
Where did your interest in UFOs come from, and when did that start?
I was very interested in that growing up in the 50s and 60s, and as you said, it was read about Project Bluebook, and saw a lot of those science fiction movies back in the 60s or 50s, Earth versus Flying Saucers, and the day the world ended, and read books by Isaac Asimov and Arthur C. Clarke and Ray Bradbury and Robert Heinlein and all those, and I just was very interested in UFOs, among other things. And from my youth, I always had I guess I was searching for the meaning in the world, the meaning in life, and I always felt that they had an important role to play. I wasn't sure what it was, but I was always, and still am, fascinated by them.
Have you ever seen a UFO, Steve?
No. Believe it or no, I actually never have.
So how can you be so sure they're really there?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. What was that again?
I said, Stephen, how do you know then, or what do you base your belief in that UFOs are real?
I don't know. It was something that just came about. I guess the Lord probably revealed it to me. As I said, I was always interested in UFOs. I didn't know how this would all fit together. But once I got saved and became a believer, the Lord sort of laid on my heart that I should write a novel about UFOs and end times and the Bible, and tie them all together. And that's where I came up with this with this whole idea that the UFOs are the grand deception. So that when the church is going to be raptured, those people left behind will believe that we were taken by UFOs. That's their role to play. It's Satan's great deception.
All right, Stephen, please stand by. You and I have to take a commercial break. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Stephen Yulish is our special guest, Exo Nation. And more about biblical angels, the Nephilim, and UFOs when we return with our special guest this hour, Stephen Yulish, right here live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Stephen Yulish is our special guest, and Stephen, you before we went to the break, you were saying that the UFOs are part of the Great Deception. How does this play into the end time scenario?
Well, I think that we're obviously seeing since 1947, since Roswell, we've been seeing a real increase in UFO sightings and abductions or whatever. And I think, as I said, that this is all playing into where we're moving into the end times, and I believe this is the apocalypse is approaching. And as the Bible says, Jesus is going to take his saints off the earth to protect them from this, what is known as the rapture. And all of a sudden, millions of people disappear. I mean, how are you going to explain that to the people left behind? What are they going to think happens to these people? It's going to be that they were taken up by UFOs, because there's so much in our consciousness now.
The Nephilim, the fallen angels, those who descended from the sky, what part do they play in the final rapture as well as in the UFO scenario?
Well, I mean, again, if you trace back through the Bible, which I began doing over the last decade or so, beginning in Genesis, the Bible talks about that the sons of God, mated with the daughters of men, and the sons of God, everybody recognizes as angels, so the daughters of men were earth women, and that was something that God did not want to happen. And the Bible talks about how they were going after strange flesh. They weren't supposed to go after human flesh. That's why I think they're fallen angels, and God, in the book of Jude and the book of Peter, talks about how they were thrown into hell or into darkness, into prison, for what they did. And then that sort of, and their children, the children of the mating of fallen angels and humans, were the Nephilim. That's the children, I believe, and that's mistranslated as giants. We oftentimes, because the King James Bible translates them as giants, but the actual Hebrew word is Nephal, which is fallen ones. And so I believe that they're children, and they were thrown, and they polluted the DNA, and that's why God did the great flood at Noah's time, to wipe all humans off the earth, other than Noah, who had pure DNA. I mean, it was almost like an X-Files TV show. You know, the human DNA had become polluted by fallen angel DNA, or I would say extraterrestrial DNA, same thing. And so he had to wipe them out, wipe out all those hybrids or the vestiges of the alien so-called DNA, and that's when the flood came about and wiped everybody out, and now they're back again. I mean, those people were thrown into this reserve for judgment and darkness, and but there's more, and I think those same fallen angels are coming back again. And we see instances, you know, with UFOs, with people being abducted, and they say there's all kinds of taking their sperm or taking their eggs or doing DNA experiments, and we still see that, trying to...
Yes, but I understand that we see it, but is there any proof that this is really happening, or could it be figments of their imagination?
Oh, I think in many cases it is figments of their imagination, Rob. But I mean, in some cases, I mean, people say, well, what's the problem with the aliens or the UFO or the fallen angels mating with humans back in biblical times, and the DNA being corrupted? So what? Well, the reason so what, because Satan wanted the line that led up to Jesus, the Messiah, had to be pure, and he wanted to destroy that bloodline. And that's why it happened. That's why they tried to do that back thousands of years ago. Today, I don't think it's so much over the DNA, but I think it's just to deceive us. Again, when the end times come and millions of people disappear, and you see UFO in the skies, people will say, oh, they were abducted. People accept that now because it's in movies, it's in books, in TV shows, and, you know, people accept that as a possibility anyways. And people would rather believe that they were abducted by UFOs than they were taken with Jesus in the air. You know, so, I mean, unfortunately, I would say our society accepts that as a possibility.
All right, but not everyone on this planet believes in Christ. Not everyone on this planet believes in God. Not everybody on this planet believes that the Bible is the work of a deity. What do other religions, what do other faiths, what do other philosophies say about the end times? And is there a correlation within the other philosophies, or is this strictly a Christian philosophy?
I mean, other cultures, we see the Hopis and other cultures are talking about, you know, this 2012, the Mayan culture too, talking about how the world's going to end in 2012. A lot of cultures pick up on that, but I think Jesus, you know, was very clear when he said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father but through me. So I think it's very exclusive. Jesus is the way. That's the only way out. And that those other people, like you said, will be left behind when the rapture. They'll have to go through the tribulation or the apocalypse, and, you know.
All right, but doesn't that contradict the very canons of the Bible by leaving people here to suffer? Because if the Bible is true, and if God created everyone on this planet, why should there be people that are left behind?
Because they don't choose. I mean, Jesus died for everyone, and everyone is given the opportunity, you know, to choose the correct way. And if they don't choose it, then, you know, we have free will, and that's their choice, and they have to suffer the consequences. I mean, you know, so it's, you know, and I'm not God. I mean, you know, if I was God, I'd let everybody, but, you know, or maybe I wouldn't let anybody. But I mean, it's that he was that is the answer. You know, Jesus is the answer. I mean, that's why God sent His only begotten Son to die for all of us, and all we have to do is accept Him.
Yeah,
I know,
all right.
but
I understand that. But you said that it was to follow His way, and what is His way?
To accept Him and have Him take all your sins on Himself. The reason He died was He's the sin bearer, and if we just trust in Him and have faith in Him, we just turn. I mean, we're all sinners. We all fall short of the mark, all of us. I mean, none of us are perfect, you know, and none of us. We all keep sinning, and God realized that. You know, like in the Old Testament, the Jews would do sacrifices in the temple. They would sacrifice lambs and goats and bullocks and everything for their sins. And, you know, the blood of the animals would what they thought would cleanse them, but it didn't, because people kept sinning and kept sinning. So God sent His Son, and His blood now is what makes us all clean, and we have to accept that. I mean, I'm the one, as we've talked about this before. You know, I'm the last one to probably, you would think, ever to advocate this viewpoint, because as I said, I was Jewish, I was a professor, I was educated, I was all the things which you think would go against this. But then when God revealed the truth to me, and I accepted it. So, but there, Jesus, Christianity, or the way, as you said, is open to everybody. It's not it doesn't exclude anybody. Anybody, they're Buddhist or Hindu or Jewish or Mayan or whatever, anybody could accept. And I have friends who were former Muslims and friends who were Jews and friends who were Hindus who have all accepted Jesus as their Lord and Savior. So, I mean, people come from all different backgrounds. It's open to everybody.
All right.
You just have to accept.
Okay, but where does this... I'm still having a problem, Stephen, understanding where the UFO factor and Jesus fit into the same sentence.
That's a good question, Rob. As I said, it probably falls into the same sentence through my background, because I was very involved in paranormal. In fact, that image I got of the character, this fallen angel that I sent you, the article I wrote, Azazel. Mm-hmm. I mean, I was involved in Kabbalah, I was involved in Jewish mysticism. I channeled that drawing, and it was sort of through automatic writing, sort of the spirit world. I mean, that was something very far from what I'm espousing now. But, God took what was meant for evil and used it for good, I think. So I blended those two, and that's how I've written all these articles for UFO Digest and other paranormal publications, because I know exactly where these people, including your listeners, probably are coming from, or where you are coming from. I always was raised and steeped in that viewpoint for most of my life. It's only been in the last 20 years, since I was 40 years old, that all of a sudden I did a complete change in terms, but it all fit together because I was searching for what the truth was. But once I found what the truth was, then I sort of combined my UFO interest, my paranormal interest, my mystical interest, whatever, so it all fits together because God's using me, I think, because I can understand where these people are coming from. I don't know if that's how I blended it, if that's what you're saying in the same sentence. Because the bottom line, as we've talked about this before, many of my Christian friends think I'm totally off the wall. They don't believe in any of this stuff at all. They think I'm totally crazy and backsliding and whatever they want to say, so whatever. But I mean, but I know what I believe. I know what experiences I've had, and I just go from there.
All right, Stephen, we're having a bit of a problem here. I'm getting a lot of feedback here.
Yes, there's a lot of...
I don't know if you were hearing it as well. I don't know what's going on. So we're going to go to our news break. Please stand by. Hopefully somebody will be able to do something about that.
All right, Rob. Thank you.
Dr. Stephen Yulish is our special guest. We're talking about UFOs. We're talking about extraterrestrials, fallen angels, and much more. 1-877-528-8255 is toll-free. My name is Rob McConnell, and this is the X-Zone on the Talkstar Radio Network. We'll be back after the news, hopefully, and more with Dr. Stephen Yulish. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Off for a while now.
If you currently have a short-term fixed-rate home mortgage, you do need to listen to this. The mortgage industry is rapidly changing, and no one knows that better than your friends in the money business, Prime Pacific Capital. Every day, new guidelines are making it more and more difficult for homeowners to refinance the current mortgage. Don't get caught with the high interest rate and increased payments once that loan automatically adjusts. Interest rates are still low. Call Prime Pacific Capital today and refinance into a long-term, low-rate fixed mortgage. No matter what your credit situation or what state you live in, Prime Pacific Capital will work to secure a new loan for you. Don't count yourself out until you give us a call. A loan specialist is standing by to assist you with your free consultation. Make that call today. 1-866-464-1800. 1-866-464-1800. Call Prime Pacific Capital at 1-866-464-1800.
Amethyst works with your guides, angels, and spirit animals to assist you in catalyzing your inner healer, clearing your psychic and spiritual debris, integrating your lost soul parts, illuminating your journey, energizing your spirit, opening your psychic senses, exercising your multidimensional gifts, activating your purpose, empowering your soul, validating your experiences, navigating life's transitions, guiding your process, awakening your spiritual essence, balancing your energies, tapping into the creative flow, realizing your dreams, visioning your destiny, dreaming your world into being who you really are. Amethyst is an X-Zone iPod partner and can be visited online at www.answersfromyourangels.com or from your X-Zone iPod by touching the Angels widget on the main screen. Amethyst, www.answersfromyourangels.com.
My name is Michael Telstar, Canada's leading mentalist from Toronto, Ontario.
Hi, my name is Belinda, and you're listening to my dad, Rob McConnell, on the X-Zone.
This is Psychic Dorothy from St. Catharines, and you're listening to Rob McConnell.
Hello, my name is Holly Reeves, an astrologer from Astro For You, and you're listening to Canada's #1 paranormal radio show, The X-Zone, with Rob McConnell.
Welcome to The X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And here with today's weird news, I'm Rob McConnell from the X-Zone Radio Show newsroom. Off the coast of Byron Bay, Australia, 51-year-old John Morgan got to experience something perhaps never experienced by a human before, being towed out to sea on his surfboard by a shark. He said he was about 330 yards from shore paddling when the 10-foot shark got entangled in his leg rope and began towing him out to sea. Morgan compared his terrifying 170-foot ride to being towed by a jet ski. Morgan clung to the board for dear life until the shark suddenly freed itself and disappeared. They say the apple doesn't fall very far from the tree. At Michigan State University, the apple fell exactly in the same spot. Mike Rebell is an incoming freshman and was randomly assigned a dorm room, B310 in Emmons Hall. Now, what makes it unique is that this was the very same room occupied by his father back in 1978. Housing complex manager Tim Knight says it's the very first time in his 37 years at the university that he's aware of a parent and child having the same room strictly by chance. And it seems that Russia hates South Park. It may be an award-winning satire in America, but prosecutors in Russia want to ban the adult cartoon South Park, calling the series extremist. Bosmany Regional Prosecutor's Office spokeswoman Valentina Titova said, in accordance with the conclusions made by experts from the Court Investigations Committee, a claim has been filed against 2x2 for its broadcast of an episode of South Park. 2x2 is a Russia TV channel which broadcasts animated series in Moscow and St. Petersburg. The Russian Union of Christians of Evangelical Faith had asked for the ban. The group's leader, Konstantin Benda, said, South Park insults the feelings of religious believers and incites religious and national hatred. Now, something tells me that the South Park creators, Matt Stone and Trey Parker, couldn't be happier. Just off Ponce de Leon Inlet in Florida, 2 surfers were simultaneously bitten by sharks. The victims were both sitting on surfboards about 200 feet apart and were bitten on the foot in 2 separate incidents about a second apart. They received only minor injuries that were treated at the scene. But the 2 new shark bites puts Volusia County 1 bite away from the record of 22 bites set in 2001. During that summer, Volusia County was labeled as the shark bite capital of the world. Well, it didn't take hero builders long to get out the Sarah Palin action figure dolls. The dolls will sell for about $32, and you can choose from 2 models, Sarah Palin the Executive and Sarah Palin the Superhero. Sarah Palin the Executive is dressed in a formal business suit, while Sarah the Superhero sports a long black coat, white miniskirt, and a revolver strapped to a thigh. Hero Builders founder, Emil Vicali, said, "I expect the gun-toting doll will sell the better of the 2. She's tough, she's a hunter, a real action hero." The 12-inch dolls are the latest in a line of American political candidates who have been immortalized by the company, including Barack Obama, John McCain, and Hillary Clinton. All right, and guys, you have to learn to take no for an answer. All right, guys, when you're out at the club and that hot young lady turns you down for a dance, give it up, dude, lest you end up like a guy in Romania who would not take no for an answer. He repeatedly asked 24-year-old Raluca Radu for a dance, and she repeatedly rejected his advances. After his 5th request, she finally got fed up and pulled out a gun and shot him 4 times. Fortunately for him, she was a lousy shot and missed each time. The would-be Romeo ran from the club. Another club patron said, "I doubt anyone will be asking her for a dance for a long, long time." And how about the truth about politicians? It's an established fact that politicians rarely tell the whole truth, but Mayor Becky Miller of Carlton, Texas, recently turned the practice into a true art form. Miss Miller had a 9-point lead heading into the election. That is until a Dallas Morning News report cast a little light on her alleged biography. In her campaign, Miller had emotionally referred to a brother killed in the Vietnam War, but her father said her only brother is still alive and was never in the military. Miller explained that away by alleging that Dad has Alzheimer's. However, the name she gave for her brother later turned out to be an African-American man. Miller is white. She also claimed to have been once the backup singer for Linda Ronstadt and Jackson Browne, and said she was once engaged to the Eagles' Don Henley. Yet spokespeople for each said that they had never heard of her. Miller explained that away by saying back then she was known as Pinky, but voters didn't buy that and voted her out on Election Day. From the X-Zone Radio and TV Newsroom, my name is Rob McConnell. Join me Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until 2 a.m. Eastern as we broadcast live from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada on the Talk Star Radio Network. Visit our website, www.xzoneradio.com, and to watch, listen, and chat during the live broadcast, visit www.xzonetv.com.
Well, I just got back from Roswell, where the aliens have been. And if you ask the feds the cause, well, they'll only lie again. Now I'm hunted by the gumshoes, and I'm wanted by the cops, 'cause they think that I might be the guy making circles in the crops. And I know that there's a conspiracy from the voices in my head. Elvis lives, that's clear to me. It's McCartney who is dead. And if the Mars men should come again and take me, I will go. I will take a trip on their rocket ship. God bless the UFO. Give JFK this message. It's the Cuban Army's fault. And I know that Dave Koresh is alive inside a vault. We've seen reports in papers of a guy who knows about a car that runs on chewing gum, but the Arabs rubbed him out. And we loudly warn that America is badly unprepared. But the Cold War through. We need something new that can get you good and scared. Do you wonder just who is warning you of conspiracies today? We're the ones who fill the rumor mill. We are the CIA.
And welcome back, everyone. Next week we have Jackie Stallone coming on the show. Jacqueline Stallone, that is Sly Stallone's mother. She is a very gifted psychic. She's going to be with us, as well as Anthony Carr, another gifted psychic. That's next week here on The X Zone. My guest this hour is Stephen Yulish. And Stephen, where do crop circles fit into the picture? A lot of people talk about crop circles, and I was wondering if there's a connection between the end times and the increasing number of crop circles.
I don't know exactly, Rob. It's sort of indicative of a lot of different things, a lot of paranormal things that are happening in the world today. I don't know where they're called from. Some people say they're for vortexes and all kinds of different things. I don't, like most of those phenomena, I don't dismiss them out of hand. I don't know what they are, to be honest with you. But I don't just dismiss them as all created, by men. People just do it. There's some of those. But I think there's something out there. I don't know what it is. And I don't think we'll know what it is until it's too late, probably.
Stephen, do you believe that the governments of the world have full knowledge of what is going on and they are deliberately suppressing the information?
Possibly. Just like I think they've been suppressing information about UFOs for the past, 60 years. And if my scenario is correct, I think that the government doesn't know what's going on. And, they think they just don't want to tell people because they don't want to cause panic and all kinds of other things, but they don't really understand what's going on, especially if they're fallen angels like I said that they are. And I think the government's being deceived as well, and they have no idea what's going on.
That's a very interesting concept, that the government is also being conceived, because most people within the UFO communities believe that the government is suppressing the information, and to have somebody with your qualifications and your expertise in UFOs to come on the show and say that maybe the government is also being conceived is a rather interesting concept. And I was wondering how you came to that conclusion.
I don't know. I said when I wrote my first book, and I was listening to your sort of promo, which says that fact is fiction, fiction is reality, on your show. And that's what I call my novels. I call my novels faction, because obviously they're novels and they're fiction, but I think they're based on fact about these UFOs and aliens or whatever. And in there I have a secret group called Ultra in the government that's being deceived. And to answer your question more specifically, I have a friend who was like 25, 30 years in the CIA. And I've sent him stuff on my articles on UFOs, and he doesn't usually, and I try to ask his opinion of it. He's a good patriot, never tells me anything. But, he's very into honor and country, whatever. But, about 2-3 months, or maybe 6 months ago, I sent him an email. We email every day back and forth just about political things in particular. But he put a PS to one of his emails, and he said, Steve, your concept about UFOs and aliens in the Bible is right on. Now, I don't know what that really shook me up when he said that, because I respect his opinion. He's been in government for many years. He's been counselor to presidents. If I mention his name, you would know who he is. But anyways, and so, when he said that, it sort of legitimated what I believed all the way along, like that the government is being deceived too. That's the point you said. I think that they're in total, they're totally confused. They're trying to protect us, they think, from this disclosure. A lot of people in the UFO community talk about disclosure coming, that the UN's going to do some kind of great statement shortly telling that there's aliens out there. but the government's trying to keep that quiet because they don't want people to panic, instead of like they did in the War of the Worlds radio program with
Orson Welles.
Orson Welles, H.G. Wells. Orson Welles, thank you. Many years ago, and but I think they have no idea what's really going on. Very few of them, maybe my friend being one exception, don't really realize. They think that there are aliens, extraterrestrials out there. I don't believe they're extraterrestrials. As I said, I believe they're fallen angels from the spirit world. And they're just being totally deceived as well.
Right.
In fact, I used to quote in my book, and I often quote this guy, Trevor James Constable, who was a military historian many years ago, who said that the battle with UFOs is not for the planet of man, it's for the soul of man, which is sort of what I'm talking about, more of a spiritual aspect. And so there have been people that believe this over the years, but most of us are poo-pooed, from both ends of it. People in the UFO community think I'm too religious, so to speak. People in the religious community think I'm too paranormal. So I guess I must be doing something right. Both of them think I'm crazy. So
I don't think you're crazy. I'll just state that for the record. I do not think that you, Stephen Yulish, are crazy.
You never know. I'm using that maybe in a positive sense, but if they're normal.
Stephen, do you think it's possible that the Vatican knows what's going on and they are the suppressants of the information and not the government?
Possibly so. I'm not a great fan of the Vatican, as people know from my writings. And even all these apparitions of Mary, the Virgin Mary, many of them are associated with UFOs. So in my mind, that just shows they're demonic. That's really not the Virgin Mary coming. That's some kind of an angel, fallen angel, deceptive angel. But so the Vatican, they've got all kinds of intrigue going on in there for many millennium, I guess. It's a big political, not very spiritual entity in my estimation. So they could be. In fact, in my novel, my first novel, The Great Uprouse of Deception, I have the Pope and many in the Vatican involved with the aliens, like you were just saying. They're in a sense they're on the wrong side, not on the right side. They're on the wrong side, trying to promote, which is what they oftentimes want to promote for control. People that don't like religion say they just want to control people's lives and for political, and that's probably true. Historically, it was very true. So.
Stephen, please stand by. You and I have to take our final break for this hour. Exonation, my very special guest is Dr. Stephen Yulish, and his books are available at Amazon.com, and the good doctor and I will return on the other side of this commercial break as the X-Zone continues on the Talkstar Radio Network, and we're going to be publishing some of Dr. Yulish's works in the September edition of the X-Chronicles newspaper, which is distributed on September 21st. My name's Rob McConnell. I'll be back with Stephen Yulish on the other side of this break as we continue from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, right here on Talkstar.
If you've ever wondered about past lives or even life between lives, and you think the whole idea is a little strange, you're not alone. Dr. Georgina Cannon, author of the books Return, Past Life Regression, and You, and her latest book, Discovering the Interlife, writes her books to remove the woo-woo from these regression protocols and to show the therapeutic benefit and opportunities that happen with these journeys. Discovering the Interlife is the one book you'll need as you continue on your life journey. As Shirley MacLaine said about the book,
this is a very, very powerful work.
So be kind to yourself and find out more about Discovering the Interlife at www.lifebetweenlivescanada.com. That's www.lifebetweenlivescanada.com. You'll be glad you did. To contact Dr. Georgina Cannon at the Ontario Hypnosis Centre in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, visit www.ontariohypnosiscentre.com. If you have ever thought of owning your very own home-based or session-proof business that would require a low investment and financing that would give you residual cash flow and growth, what you are about to hear is the key to your financial success. A Tradia franchise is available for U.S. and Canadian markets today. Tradia is building the largest, most effective barter exchange system available in the world. Tradia provides a turnkey business opportunity that includes a complete and comprehensive training system, proven marketing materials, software, and database. Tradia is looking for a natural networking personality. You have to like talking with people at events and meeting new people on a daily basis. If you creatively think out of the box, have networking skills, the ability to follow instructions, have basic sales skills, and have a passion to build your very own business, join the Tradia family and build a Tradia franchise today. For more information on how you can become a Tradia franchisee, visit their website today at www.tradia.net.
And welcome back, everyone. I'd like to take this opportunity of thanking all our guests tonight. Carol Schutter, she is the author of the book turned movie September Dawn. Dr. William Schneed and I talked about the world of intelligence and counterintelligence. John Kachuba and I talked about his new series that he's the editor for, America's Haunted Road Trip. And my very special guest this hour, Dr. Stephen Yulish. Coming October the 1st, the X-Zone movie channel will be starting, so keep watching for more details. And if you have a DVD that you've produced that you would like us to broadcast on the X-Zone channel, just send me an email to xzone@talkstarradio.com. And also, the X-Zone Book Club will be coming to you as of October the 1st as well. If you have a book you'd like to have listed, or if you'd like to be profiled, send us an email to xzone@xzoneradio.com. And starting next Monday, my wife, Laura Rogers, who is also the senior producer of the X-Zone radio show and is the lady behind Relmar McConnell Media Company, she is going to be doing the news for us, and that's going to be great having Laura here working with us. And she works behind the scenes, but we're going to get her to use her voice talents to do the news for us here at night on the X-Zone. So that's coming up next week. Once again, I'd like to thank Carol Schutter, Dr. William Schneed, John Kachuba, and Stephen Yulish. Stephen, as always, it's great having you on the show. I love reading your articles. I love the way you think. And when do you think that this final deception is going to make itself known worldwide, where the existence of UFOs and fallen angels will not be able to be shunned aside as a figment of imagination?
I'm sorry, you said when?
Yes, sir.
I think sooner rather than later. You know, I believe we're living in the end times, and I believe we're seeing more and more instances of people talking about disclosure at the United Nations and a lot of things like that. And I think we don't have time to talk about it, but it all ties into the state of Israel, I believe, too. And, you know, all that's going on in the Middle East with the state of Israel lets me know that we're in the end of times, and I think this is going to happen. There's a lot of sightings over Israel, too, and I think those people are going to be deceived, they're already deceived.
Stephen, we've just run out of time, but thank you very much. I look forward to having you back on the show in the near future. Take care of yourself, my friend.
Thank you very much, Rob. I enjoyed it.
Always great talking to you. Regards to the family. Well, that's it for tonight, everyone. I'd like to thank my producer at Master Control, the one and only Stephanie, for getting us through another night. Steph, thanks very much, and I hope that you're feeling better, dear. Hope you have a great weekend, Steph, and thanks for keeping us up on those 4 big birds in the sky, Galaxy 4R, Telstar 7, Aglia 2, and on G3. And to my wife and senior producer, the lovely Laura Rogers, thank you, sweetheart. Keith Friedman at Consolidated Streaming, thank you, Keith. Rob from Scarborough, who was our moderator at the X-Zone chat at xzonetv.com, thank you. And you, the members of the X-Zone Nation, thank you for allowing us to be part of your day or night, no matter where you are on this great big world of ours. I hope that each and every one of you have a super weekend. Take care of each other. And if you've got a child at home, let them know they're loved. So until Monday night, always keep your eyes to the sky and your heart to the light.